So we have some breaking news here. It's been reported that the British boxer, world heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua, has been reported to have been in an accident in Nigeria, in Ogun State, as far as I've been told. And the accident took place in a Lexus Jeep. He was accompanied. There was two Jeeps on the road, and one of the Jeeps crashed into a stationary lorry. So from what I understand, it's very tragic. It's a very tragic story. He has been taken to the hospital, so he was able to. Passers-by, from what I understand, was able to attend to him and help him out of the car. They got him out of the car, and they were able to. The police, I believe, took him to hospital before any kind of ambulance or any kind of medical services could reach the scene. And sadly, the two people in the front of the vehicle, the passenger and the driver, passed away. So they are two reported fatalities. Now, there is reports saying that the vehicle may have been travelling over the speed limit when it crashed, due to some kind of overtake maneuver that was taking place. Now, all of that is such a fresh story. All of that is just out there. I'm sure in the coming hours and days we'll get, when they've investigated the whole thing, we'll get a clearer picture of what happened. As it stands, at this point in time, 2 people have died in the crash, and Anthony Joshua was able to walk away. He was rescued. In the pictures, if you've seen any of this on the news, you can definitely see he's in considerable pain, but he's definitely been blessed. The fact that they say he's sustained minor injuries, and 2 others escaped unhurt. So that must be the people in the other vehicle. It's yet to be confirmed. That's just the impression that I get. So we're going to have a look at a report from Sky and a report on GB News, because, to be fair, they've actually managed to share quite a bit of information, particularly the GB News story. They brought on one of Anthony Joshua's, a fellow boxer, someone who knows him quite well, a friend of his, and he was able to kind of shed some light on how tragic this is, which is obvious. Although, being a friend, he kind of gave a sense of how Anthony's is going to be dealing with this. And as it goes, he just come off the back of the successful fight with the fight he had in America, which he won with Jake Paul, controversial to some. Although he did win that fight, and he visits Nigeria quite frequently, from what I understand. The people in that state, they regard him as a brother, as a brethren, and he always mingles with the public when he's out there. So it's a very tragic story. He was playing table tennis. He posted something on social media, a video on social media with him playing table tennis. Seemed to be having a ordinary everyday afternoon out, chilling out, doing what he's doing, and tragically this happened on their way journeying on one of the major highways in Ogun State. So there'll be more information on this. Without further ado, let's check out these news reports.
Begin this hour with some breaking news coming out of Nigeria, where police say that the British former world heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua, has been involved in a serious car accident. Let's cross straight now to the newsroom, bring in our correspondent, Emma Birchley. Afternoon to you, Emma. We're reliant on local media reports. What are they telling us?
Well, we know directly from the police that this crash has happened, that 2 people have died in that accident, and that Anthony Joshua has been taken to hospital with minor injuries. Now, there are photos that have emerged online that show him sitting behind the driver's seat with his top off, surrounded with glass, broken glass, and then video too that shows him being helped from that vehicle, appearing to be in quite a lot of pain, possibly in his legs, surrounded by a lot of people. So he's been taken to hospital with what have been described as minor injuries. Now, this has happened just north of Lagos. Lagos is in the south west of Nigeria. This happened, we're told, on a busy highway north of Lagos. Now, Anthony Joshua had been in the country. He has roots there. He'd been there on holiday. And only hours ago, he'd posted on his social media playing table tennis. That just a matter of hours before. Now, there is a little bit more detail about exactly what happened from local reporters. We're told that Anthony Joshua was in the front vehicle in a two-car convoy, both SUVs, and apparently it was in collision with a stationary lorry. And apparently in that front car that Anthony Joshua was in, there were 4 passengers. So this very much a story which is just breaking and details just emerging.
Yes, indeed they are. Emma, thank you for bringing us what we know so far. Let's see if we can get any more detail on that. We can speak now to Onyinye Obaro, a sports anchor at News Central Television, which is a 24-hour news channel in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us at such short notice. What is being reported in Nigerian media?
Thank you so much, Samantha. At the moment, we understand that Anthony Joshua has been taken away from the accident scene and has been taken to the hospital to get checked. But the Lexus Jeep, which he occupied with 2 people in front, was rammed into a stationary truck. And you could see the impact of that accident, losing 2 people seated in front of that truck. But Anthony Joshua's getting minor injuries there, and was seen taken away from the vehicle, wriggling in pain, and then taken into the vehicle of the police convoy that came with him to heading up to that Makun area in Ogun State. You know that Anthony Joshua has got his ancestral home here in Ogun State, Nigeria, and that's what he thought in the festive period. But at this time, we're hearing this news around the Lexus Jeep, which he occupied, heading up to that Makun area in Ogun State, ramming into that stationary truck, and we could see the impact. And that's why at the moment the 2 who occupied the front seat of that Lexus Jeep have been confirmed dead. But Anthony Joshua has been taken to the hospital, taken away from that accident scene right now, and is being given attention.
So if I heard you correctly there, it's the 2 that were in the stationary truck in front that have been pronounced dead at the scene?
Lexus Jeep, same with Anthony Joshua, were confirmed dead at the accident scene.
I see. And emergency services, were they on the scene pretty much immediately?
None yet at the moment, even at the time when Anthony Joshua was taken away from the Lexus vehicle, which he occupied, into the police vehicle. At the moment, what we could see is the convoy which followed Anthony Joshua. They were the ones who ran into action, taking him away from that vehicle that has been rammed into that truck, the stationary truck, because it was severely damaged. And Anthony Joshua was helped to see him wriggling in pain in there, as you can see on your screen right now. And he was taken into a police vehicle, headed straight to the hospital for checkup. He sustained injuries. He sustained minor injuries, according to what we can hear. But the police are saying they're investigating what happened that caused the accident, all the incidents around the accident. They're going to investigate that. But he has been taken away from the accident scene because we see a lot of fans around there having access, helping out with the police, helping out with those who came for the rescue operation. Not any ambulance, not any first responding to the cares there, but the police who were there to help him out into another vehicle, heading straight to the hospital.
And we can see there are plenty of eyewitnesses around the vehicle that Anthony Joshua was in there. Are we hearing anything? I understand an investigation has been launched, but are we hearing anything preliminary about the circumstances under which his car ploughed into the stationary vehicle?
None for now until the investigations are done. What we can hear at the moment is that police are running an investigation around the circumstances at which this accident happened around that area. It's Makun area of Ogun State. That's the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So at the moment, still sketchy information from the police until the investigations are done.
People obviously recognise him. He's a British athlete, but of course with strong Nigerian heritage. Is he a household name in Nigeria?
Yes, indeed he is. Everyone, of course, knows Anthony Joshua. And I'm looking at the fact that he just had his fight with Jake Paul. And with that commanding victory in the 6th round, everyone knows Anthony Joshua. And those who live around Ogun State, who hail from Ogun State, they see him as family. They see him as a brother. And he's one person that always remembers home. He comes home and every time he has that free time to come meet with the people, free with the people, exercises with the people. And that's why everyone knows Anthony Joshua. They know him when they see him.
And do we understand that he's been taken in that police car to a hospital? I mean, he looks, he is moving, but he does look to be in quite considerable pain.
He's wriggling in pain there. But news we're getting at the moment, for the fact that he was taken in the police vehicle, that he was headed to the hospital to get checked. At this time, we can confirm the hospital. We cannot confirm the hospital at which Anthony Joshua was taken to, but it was confirmed that he was taken to the hospital to get checked of the injuries he sustained in the accident.
OK. All right. Really appreciate you speaking to us so quickly off the back of these reports emerging. Anthony Joshua there involved in a very serious car accident, which 2 people have been confirmed dead. He, as you can see there, has managed to exit his vehicle, and we are told that he has been taken by police car to a hospital, though we don't know yet which one.
News now. Reports say that Anthony Joshua has been injured in a car crash that killed 2 people in Nigeria.
Yeah, it is understood the former 2-time heavyweight boxing champion sustained minor injuries when his vehicle collided with a stationary truck along a busy section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway at around 11 a.m. local time on Monday.
Prior to the crash, Joshua had posted a video on Instagram where he's playing table tennis. It comes 10 days after Joshua's big money fight against YouTuber Jake Paul.
We will bring you more on that breaking story as and when we have it, obviously. OK, let's return to the breaking news story now. Reports say Anthony Joshua has been injured in a car crash that killed 2 people in Nigeria.
Well, it's understood that the former 2-time heavyweight boxing champion sustained minor injuries when his vehicle collided with a stationary truck along a busy section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway at around 11 a.m. local time on Monday. Prior to the crash, Joshua had posted a video on Instagram where he is playing table tennis. Comes 10 days after Joshua's big money fight against YouTuber Jake Paul. OK,
now let's join by former professional boxer Spencer Oliver. Spencer, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Shocking news from what we can tell, though, from the reports we're receiving, that Anthony is OK, but sadly 2 people have lost their lives.
Yeah, from my understanding, Anthony was taken to hospital, sustained minor injuries, but he is very stable. And unfortunately, the 2 people that were in the car with him have sadly passed away, which is shocking news, such sad news. You know, Anthony Joshua out in Lagos, spending a bit of time out in Nigeria. And obviously this has happened after the big fight that he had just a few last week with Jake Paul. Yeah, very sad news.
Yeah, no, I mean, hopefully. I mean, do you know Anthony quite well?
I know Anthony Joshua very well, yep. So he started boxing with the Finchley ABC, which was a gym that my father Jim and my uncle John ran. They both trained him up until when he won the Olympic gold medal. So I've got a history with Anthony Joshua. It goes back from when he was an 18-year-old kid, right way up till today. So, yeah, we have a very good relationship. It's shocking news. I've only just seen this break, actually, on social media. So I know pretty much as you guys at the moment, but the good news is that Anthony Joshua is stable, but the sad news, obviously, that 2 people in the car have sadly passed away. Yeah,
I mean, and Spencer, obviously, it's just, you know, just a week after that quite heavily criticised fight, it has to be said. Anthony would have needed some downtime to chill, as you say. How will he cope with it? You've known him since he was a young man. How will he cope with this? I mean, it's a horrible thing to happen, certainly if he's lost friends.
That's a great question, because Anthony Joshua is a very emotional guy, and this is not going to be easy for him. I know that, and we don't know the two people that are in the car at the moment. The names haven't been announced at the moment. I don't know if it was his friends or if it was passengers that he was just travelling with. So look, it's going to be very difficult for Anthony. I know him personally on that level, and I know that he'll take this very, very difficultly.
I mean, he is obviously a fighter in every sense of the word. So he has had setbacks in the past. So hopefully we'll come back from this.
Yes, please God, that he does. I mean, look, he's going to need some time out for sure. It's going to be a tough little journey for him to get over this one. It's been a tough time for Anthony Joshua in recent times. He's built his marketability out in America. I think that the fight went down quite well. He's built a new fan base out in America, and he was looking to continue his career and get back to winning ways, back to winning world titles in 2026. But that seems to, now that will take a setback for sure.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for joining us. That's former professional boxer Spencer Oliver there on the breaking story that Anthony Joshua has been injured in a car crash in Nigeria that has sadly seen two people lose their lives. We'll have more on that breaking story as and when we get it.
Yes, let's hope he will be OK, but terrible that two fatalities.
Now, a reminder, the British heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua, he's been injured in a serious car crash that killed two other people in Nigeria. Pictures on your screen there of Joshua, who was injured. He's 36 years age. He sustained minor injuries, incredibly, after his vehicle collided with another car. You can see a map on your screen there now, because according to preliminary police findings, the Lexus Jeep, which Joshua was travelling in, is suspected of travelling beyond the legally prescribed speed limit and lost control during an overtaking manoeuvre, and then crashed into a stationary truck by the side of the road. Worth just going back onto those pictures you can see on your screen. That there is clearly the truck that we now hear was stationary at the side of the road, and the latest line is the Lexus Jeep, which Joshua was travelling in. That's the pictures there on your screen. You can see it's completely caved in at the front, and as we understand, the driver and the front seat passenger were killed on the impact with that stationary truck, and Anthony Joshua, who was sitting behind the driver, miraculously almost has walked away from that crash, as has the other passenger in the back seat next to Mr. Joshua. A vehicle behind them, which is believed to contain Anthony Joshua's security detail, wasn't involved in the crash. But the latest line just coming out now, we understand that the vehicle that Mr. Joshua was travelling in is suspected of travelling beyond the legally prescribed speed limit, and it lost control during an overtaking manoeuvre and thereby crashed into a stationary truck by the side of the road. And there are some harrowing videos online emerging of Anthony Joshua miraculously, he survived that crash with minor injuries. Let's discuss this now. I'm joined in the studio by political commentator Matthew Stadler. Matthew, when you look at those pictures, it really, really is incredible that anybody walks away from that alive. The vehicle's completely caved in, and if we're to believe it, Matthew, the latest line is they were going over the speed limit.
It's a horrifying story, and it's the sort of story, God forbid it happens to anyone, and it may well have happened to people watching the show today, that just will inevitably stay with you for the rest of your life. I mean, if you're in a car crash where people lose their lives, that is profoundly scarring. Thank goodness that Anthony Joshua himself seems not to have been seriously injured. I met him, actually, 10 years ago or so, and I was interviewing him for the Telegraph. I liked him. He was living in much more humble circumstances than I imagine he's living in today. But just looking back at the interview, I thought it was fascinating, because he said to me, we've got to be psychos to do what we do. He said it's weird because sometimes when I'm standing there before a fight, this was before he became a world champion, but after he was an Olympic gold medalist, he said, I'm standing there before a fight, I think all these people have come out to see someone knocked the hell out. People have paid money to see blood, someone unconscious on the floor. The more you batter someone, he said, the more fans you get. How crazy is that? That's my job. And he actually said something similar around that Jake Paul fight as well. I don't know what you thought of the Jake Paul fight.
I did watch it. I thought it was an absolute disgrace. I thought it was an insult to the sport of boxing. But, there are 70 million reasons that the pair of them did it each.
I'm not a fan of boxing just purely because I'm not a fan of human beings hitting each other in the face. But if you were a fan of boxing, I don't see how you could possibly argue that fight between someone who is a world heavyweight champion and a YouTuber, brave though Jake Paul undoubtedly was, how you could say that isn't bad for the sport. I mean, it's just crazy. But listen, to see him in these circumstances, we've seen unverified videos on social media, as you've said, without his top on, sort of staggering out of this vehicle, really distressing. And my thoughts go out to him, my thoughts go out to his family and to the family of those who we believe have died.
It's worth just getting those pictures on screen now, the latest pictures of that crash. It just, I think, it sends a chill down your spine, but it's astonishing that anybody walked away from that, particularly if we're to understand the latest line, that the vehicle that Anthony Joshua was travelling in was going above the speed limit. This is a long freeway between two major cities, so I'm assuming, I don't know, the speed limit would be something like 60, 70 miles an hour, and it was going over the prescribed limit, we understand. If we can get those pictures on the screen of the Jeep that Anthony Joshua was travelling in. We understand it's a Lexus Jeep he was travelling in, suspected of travelling beyond the legally prescribed speed limit, lost control during an overtaking manoeuvre and crashed into a stationary truck by the side of the road. Please, let's try and get those pictures on the screen to show our viewers, if they're just tuning in, you'll see when they come up. It's incredible that anybody could have walked away from this. That's the vehicle, the stationary one. That there is the vehicle that Anthony Joshua was in. Look at it, it's absolutely caved in. The entire front section, the engine is caved in. The two people in the front seats, we understand, were killed on impact. Anthony Joshua travelling behind the driver to the rear and has walked away. Incredible that anybody could walk away from that, Matthew Sadler.
You can't see those horrific pictures. And when I've met, as I've said, I met Anthony Joshua personally, but most of us feel like we've sort of met famous people, don't we? Because they're beamed into our living rooms on TV or through social media. You cannot fail, A, to be moved by it, and B, to just remember the lessons that roads are dangerous places. Of course we use them. We just have to drive so carefully.
And if those reports are true, that the vehicle, we understand, was travelling over the speed limit and crashed into a stationary vehicle, a truck, while attempting an overtaking manoeuvre. So there'll be a huge investigation into the culpability of those involved, but that won't help, of course, those two people in the front seats who we now hear are dead upon impact. And just to repeat again, it's just incredible looking at those pictures to believe anybody could walk away. The effectiveness of modern vehicle design, of course, to be credited. And Anthony Joshua, we're assuming, must have been wearing his seatbelt. So, I've got to admit myself, often don't wear a seatbelt in the back of a car, but looking at that, wow, you really do need to be doing that. Incredible pictures. We'll bring you much.
It is extremely sudden and tragic to hear this news. It's pretty much all over the media at the moment. And as you know, Nigeria's been in the news quite a lot lately for other related subject matter. I mean, the guy's out there. He'd finished his fight 10 or so days ago successfully with Jake Paul. He's out there having some downtime, I guess, visiting friends and family. And they take to the roads and this happens. Look, my brother just came back from visiting. He just came back from Nigeria, attending a cousin's wedding about a month ago. And some of the pictures he showed me and the stories he would tell me about, it's a different kettle of fish driving out there. But, then again, things happen all over the globe. So it's just fortunate that he managed to leave the scene with minor injuries. I wonder, I'm sure it's going to come out later, whether there was actually a hospital nearby, how far that hospital was, because, it's just all in all a tragic story. More information is going to surface as they do the investigation. It's a good thing the police were able to take him to the hospital. They were on the scene on time. And the people in the area, he's a recognizable face. From what it seems, the people immediately were able to take action and come to his assistance, and two other passengers or two other people who were in the other car, I think the other Lexus, they were able to walk away without any injuries, we've been told thus far. We'll follow the story up, and prayers go out to everybody involved and the families of those who weren't able to survive the crash. For now, I would have loved to have been able to meet you under better circumstances. Well, these things, it's definitely worth having the information put out there. So, as usual, myself, Only Radio here at CornerSpeak. Be good if you can, be safe whenever you can, and be creative if possible. For now, I'm out.